And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Welcome back to the second half hour. And folks, this is a really important half hour because we are less than a week away from the elections. Huge season. There's a lot on the line, and I'm very honored to have in the studio with me MaryLynn Magar. She is the chairman of the Martin County Republican Executive Club, and a little bit everybody knows you, MaryLynn, but I'm going to give your bio anyways.
Okay.
So Ms. Magar was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but relocated to Vienna, Virginia at an early age and earned her Bachelor of Science in Business Marketing from Radford University. Magar's background brings extensive business experience along with
You're going all the way back, huh?
I am. We get to know everything now. And tremendous sales and marketing success. Magar was innovative in the technology and communications industry, negotiating government contracts to implement early distance learning and telemedicine networks and solutions. She's currently vice president of Heart Care Imaging, a healthcare industry business that she founded with her husband, Bob Stilley. Shortly after moving to Martin County in '92, Magar joined the Martin County Republican Executive Committee and has been an active member and organizer in the Republican Party. She was elected and served as Republican Party of Florida State's Committee Woman 2000 to 2012. She was elected to the Florida House of Representatives in 2012 and was appointed Deputy Majority Whip. She served in various leadership roles, including Chairman of Healthcare Appropriations. She was the highest-ranking woman in the legislature when elected as Speaker pro tempore of the Florida House in 2018 until term limited in 2020. Magar continues in community service and leadership by serving as a chairman of the Martin Republican Executive Committee, a board member of Palm Beach North Chamber, and Eucharistic minister in the Catholic Church. She lives in Tequesta with her husband and family. MaryLynn, my gosh, there's so much that's been going on with this election. And, we were talking too with the hurricanes that have coming through. It's going to be more important than ever to get the vote out. Right now with the presidential election, they're saying it's a dead heat. So every vote truly counts. So tell us a little bit about your efforts and what can people do to make sure everybody's getting out there to vote?
Sure. And I wanted to let you know just a couple of statistics. So as of this morning, Martin County Republicans have been coming out to vote in force. 55% of our Republicans have already voted.
Wow.
But let me tell you, the Democrats are pretty motivated too. They've had almost 55% as well come out to vote. But the Martin County Republican effort is actually the second highest effort in the state, percentage of turnout in the state. We're the second county. And so I'm pretty proud of that. We've been doing so much to get the vote out. We are making phone calls every day, and we have been knocking on doors for months now, getting people energized, and really just talking to people, knocking on their door, picking up the phone and asking, what are the issues that are important to you? Things like agriculture, food. This is something that is very central to our effort this year, making America healthy again. And this is why people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and, Casey and Callie Means, Dr. Marty McCary, have all come to the table in helping us with an issue like this. I mean, healthcare, as we know, is just crazy.
Yes.
The amount of money that we spend on healthcare. And, I think the pandemic opened our eyes to what can we be doing better other than just taking a pill or a shot. What can we do to be healthier and happier?
MaryLynn, I appreciate you tying into my previous program, which was 4-H, and we talk a lot about agriculture, and it is so important to be healthy. You have absolutely hit the nail on the head. COVID really targeted those that were ill. They had some kind of secondary issue, whether it was obesity, whether it was heart disease, whether it was a cancer, whatever it was. It really targeted those folks the most. So focusing on eating healthy is a common sense thing that doesn't necessarily line all the pockets of everybody, other than we all eat. We should just be choosing the right things. And you know what? None of us likes to pay doctor's bills and take a lot of pills and stuff. And that's really what it's about, is trying to,
so it's good
to
to
be
have
healthier.
some good choices here in Martin County.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more. MaryLynn, folks, I'm sure you've seen them. You and your team have been out. I see you on US 1. I see you down at Hope Sound. You've got the fire truck. You've got the sign waving. And like you said, you've been all over knocking on doors. out there, what's the feedback that you've gotten from the community? And clearly you're making a difference. If we're number 2 in the state, by the way, congratulations on that. That's a big achievement.
Yes,
So
it is. It is. I think that we have generated a level of excitement here in Martin County from the party. It's not just, we're going to a political meeting, but we're having fun. We're waking up in the morning to go down Harry and the Natives for Fox and Friends. We're knocking on doors.
and in the morning, by the way, not to interrupt you, but that was like 4 a.m. in the morning. You all got up.
Yes. And look at the crowd we had.
It was packed.
It was incredible. But, I think that there's just excitement for our issues, for our candidates, and to get the vote in, obviously. Over half of the people in Martin County, over half of our Republicans have voted. They're excited to get that vote in.
I have to say, I early voted as well, and for the first time, I actually had to wait in line for about between 5 and 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Usually, early voting, I walk in and walk out, so there is a difference this year, and the excitement that you bring is actually very contagious. What do you say to people? Because right now, there's a lot of narrative out there. The election was fixed last time, so there's some people that say it's fixed. Why should I vote? What do you say to those people?
Well, I think in Florida especially, we have gone to great efforts to make sure that our vote is safe. We even in our local party have a ballot integrity committee, so that we can come up with ideas that we've passed along to the legislature. But since the debacle in 2000, we have continued to make our laws better and better to make sure our vote is very sacred to us and counted in the proper way. Fair. We want fair elections.
Yes.
We want every vote to be counted openly, transparently, fairly.
So, with the Republican Executive Committee, have you been able to address the mail-in ballots? Is there any ideas you have to make sure that people believe in the integrity that the mail-in ballots are not something that somebody can somehow misconstrue
Right.
or use?
I mean, we have one of the best supervisors of elections.
Vicki Davis,
in the
yes,
state.
we do.
Vicki Davis she's done a phenomenal job for us. But we've done things like with the mailing ballots. She will send you an email saying your ballot's on the way. If you've requested, first of all, you have to request it. And then she's going to send you an email saying it's coming, so you know it's coming. You fill it out, you turn it back in, and you get another email saying they got it. And I tell people, if you don't get that second email, give them a call, and people have, and they'll look it up to make sure that they have received that ballot. So I think that does give people a little bit more peace of mind. If you recall, Florida has always been a very strong vote-by-mail state because of our snowbird population.
Right.
And so generally, we all accepted and used vote-by-mail for many, many years. It wasn't until, the past election or two that people got nervous about it because of things that have happened in other states. But I think that here in Florida, we can be confident that the ballot boxes have eyes on ballot boxes, no dumpster fires in our ballot boxes,
Right.
or anything like that.
MaryLynn Magar, the excitement that you have brought here to the Treasure Coast, and I know it's you and your team, but you are the chairwoman of the REC, and it's really made a difference. In Florida, statewide, there's more Republicans registered than Democrats.
Isn't that wild?
It's incredible. It's incredible. It really is a huge statistic that we really need to celebrate, especially for the Republican Party, because this is an important election. We can do it here. We can do it anywhere. Mm-hmm. Speaking of anywhere, there's Helene and Milton that have come through. And, there's a huge concern, and we have a lot of folks that have vacation homes, their second homes up in the Carolinas that have lost them, but a lot of people are without ability to get to the polls up there. What can we do to make sure everybody votes? Because this is really a terrible time to not be able to vote in this country. This is such an important election.
And I remember back in 2004 with Francis and Jean, I remember targeting and walking areas that were affected right here in Martin County. And we were knocking on doors to, find out if people were okay, if they needed help in requesting a ballot. So we've seen that in our area. And, I think that the party can help their voters, reach out to them to make sure they're voting. I know that the governor has set up some provisional ways for them to vote to make sure they can get those ballots if they've gone to a relative's house or out of state, if they're displaced. So we want to, stay on them. And that's part of our job as executive committee, to make sure that our voters get out and that we're reaching out to them, not only to get them to vote, but, to check on them and make sure that they're okay.
Of course. So that's of paramount. And then, secondarily, of course, we got to make sure we get everybody out there to vote. This is so incredibly important this year. Thought you were going to say something.
Well,
there for a second.
it's important to vote. We've got a lot of great candidates on the ballot, but we have some really important issues on the ballot as well.
There are 6 amendments. You're absolutely right.
Yes. And, I think especially Amendment 3 and 4 are particularly contentious,
Which are
perhaps.
the marijuana and the abortion amendments.
Right. And
They are.
I think that Florida, as you mentioned, we have 1 million more Republican voters. So we are a Republican state. We can safely say that we're no longer a swing state this year. We are a red state. But these two issues, the way that these ballot measures have been written, are very deceptive. The marijuana amendment, number 3. I mean, first of all, we already have a very liberal medical marijuana law. Just about anyone can, if needed, go in and properly get the marijuana that they're seeking. However, this one that is out there supersedes everything. You'd be able to smoke marijuana in public, playgrounds, in a restaurant. Who wants that? I mean, if you go to a big city or California, this is what you're seeing, and I say, don't California my Florida.
Right.
But, it's a very deceptive issue. This is not going to help our agriculture industry. This is all about large corporations out of this state, out of this country, corporations coming and funding this ballot measure, creating a web for them to control this product with no liability. And, it's very dangerous also to the health of our constituents here in the state of Florida. People say, well, marijuana, it's not like it's a gateway drug or anything. You tell that to some parents or mothers that have lost their children. They will all tell you it started with marijuana. And, marijuana, it increases heart disease, heart attack by 25% and stroke by 42%.
Wow.
This is not a drug to be taken lightly. So, I think twice and vote no on 3.
And I know Chief Budenseek was in here before he was elected sheriff, and he was definitely opposed to Amendment 3. So,
Yes.
The other one, there's a couple of other ones out there. Of course, there's the abortion amendment that is on there as well,
Which is also very deceptive, the way that it's written.
That is absolutely what everybody has been out there saying. This is a very deceptive wording on what parameters are put around the abortion. It's not just.
I mean, who is for abortion up till the moment of birth? And that's what this allows.
No.
This also allows, this isn't just between a woman and her doctor. This is a woman and the healthcare worker.
That's a big difference there.
What does that mean?
Right. Because healthcare workers not defined. It could be.
And we already have exceptions for rape and incest in our abortion regulation. Both of these issues, though, were passed as laws. Okay, we're trying to amend our Constitution. We're trying to subvert the legislative process here by amending the Constitution. If you want to pass these laws, get elected and write the bill and pass them. But because Florida has become so Republican, and the Democrats feel that they're locked out of some legislative ways, this is their way to get around it. And this is what happened to places like California. They start dropping these amendments, and, makes the water warm for liberals to come here. And this is not a liberal state any longer, but it makes the water warm, and then we're going to become further left and left. And hey, that's not why most of us have moved here, lived here, and those that have come in the past few
Well,
years.
we've had so many people come in the last
Right.
few years because we were freer than the other states in the country with COVID. We were very fortunate to be unlocked before anybody else, and
Absolutely.
for many months ahead of many other states. I think it's Amendment 1. I should have brought my amendments with me today, but that's the school board where they're trying to. It's a request of party or partisan.
Putting party partisanship
Right.
back in it.
So you'll know if they're Republican or Democrat, and that's another amendment, folks. That's on there, and I think you need to vote for it. I don't know where you stand, but I think that if you know what party that they affiliate themselves with, it tells a lot about a person and their beliefs of.
It does. It does. And those
I'm
board
not opposed
races
to it.
were partisan at one time. I think maybe early 2000s.
Okay, not that long ago.
Late 90s is when it switched. I can't remember exactly, but it was sometime that I can recall. But yes, it does help you define what their soul is, what
Right.
their background is. Now, here in Martin County, we've always been a very strong, not always, but, in the past 30, 40 years, been a Republican county, and we do have a lot of Democrats, sometimes or liberal leaning people run on the Republican ticket. So it can be a little bit muddied, but I think overall within the state, it will give people a better opening into who is running for the school board. And this has really become more of an issue. I think for many years, the Republican Party only focused on top of the ticket, governor, president, senators. We forgot about these school board races and some of our local races. And the Democrats have made good inroads into that.
That's right.
And this is why we've had to step in, I think, in the past few years when we've had issues like, boys going to girls' bathrooms,
Or participating
or
in girls'
drag queens
sports
coming
right.
to our classrooms. These are not part of the Republican
No.
ideals.
No, it's not. And with that amendment, that's why there's 6 amendments total, folks, and take your time to really read through them. They're very important. I know with that amendment 1, the school board one, many folks are saying keep politics out of schools. Well, folks, that's not really what it's about, in my opinion. Politics are going to be intertwined in every decision. You can kind of say whether if they're Republican or Democrat, independent or otherwise. So,
Well, more importantly, also, our school board members are tasked with a very large budget.
yes,
And you want someone that is fiscally, economically conservative that can look at that budget and really find out where the waste is or where we need to put money into specific programs.
100% on that. And MaryLynn, there's 3 other amendments. I know one of them's about hunting, and do you know much about that amendment? It's one that's confusing to me. They say they're protecting hunting by putting it into the Constitution. I don't know that there's any issues with our hunting laws currently. So,
Again, our recommendation from the party is to vote yes on 1 and 2, no on 3 and 4, and yes on 5 and 6.
okay,
So that's yes, yes, no, no, yes,
Yes,
yes. However, I will tell you, if you don't understand a ballot issue, don't just leave it open. Vote no, because you were voting to change, to alter our Constitution. And if you aren't that informed on that particular issue, best to just say, let's leave the Constitution as it is, and let's try and see what the law will do.
well, here's another topic for you on that note, and completely respect your opinion and guidance on this. And this is voting for judges. So many people don't know who they are. So how do you vote? Do you say don't vote for it because you don't know who you're voting for, or?
Yes. With the judges, I always try and look up their bios, see if there's anything in the papers that they had a ruling on that you might get a feel for who they are. I know that the 2 that are up in the Supreme Court, the Florida Supreme Court, were both appointed by Ron DeSantis and are conservative judges, and the party has backed them. The 4th DCA, there's 2 judges there. I believe they were both appointed by Rick Scott, and there's been no official recommendation or endorsement from the party. So dig into that. But
This is important. MaryLynn just kind of gave us a little secret, and that is look to see who appointed them. That kind of gives you an idea of the judge, if they're a conservative, if they're a liberal judge. It really says a lot.
Yes.
So.
And, ask your attorney friends or ask your friends in law enforcement and see if they've had anything to do with these. We don't have any locals,
Right. Right.
on the ballot, so it's a little bit different. And I think we do a good job also of community of vetting some of the judges that we have around here.
So, folks, next Tuesday is the day. There's still early voting right now, but make sure you look at all the way through the ballot. We don't have any local races anymore. They were already decided.
The primary did it all.
Yes, the primary did it
Which
all.
it often does in Martin County.
It does, with the exception of Eileen Vargas in District 1. There's a write-in candidate. Mm-hmm. So make sure you check the box or write in a name. So, MaryLynn, it has been fantastic just to watch the Republican Executive Committee. Last couple of years, you're really rallying the vote, but it feels like there's a wave throughout the state of Florida. Do you feel that?
Yes, absolutely. Here locally, some of the volunteers that we've amassed, people like Patty and Lou and
Patty Marchese, she broke her arm
I know.
out there knocking on doors. I mean,
yes,
dedication to the highest of standards.
Absolutely. We just have so many people that have done something, done a little something. Bill Voltmer. We've done things this year like text messages. A party. We never got into that, but hey, we're embracing technology, right?
Exactly.
Right. We're driving that vote out.
Look out, yes.
And I encourage you, if you have not voted yet, please get out there. Let's swamp this vote. Let's get our votes in and then make the arguments to others about these amendments and some of our candidates as well.
And important to note as well, the time to register to vote is passed. However, everybody can vote right now. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, an independent, or whatever party you are, you can vote for any race. This is the open ballot that anybody can vote anything. So it's important just to get out there, right? Make sure your neighbors are voting and visiting.
Grab somebody. Get them to the polls. This is what we need to do. We've got to participate in our government. And this is the small way, the one small thing that you can do that will make a difference locally all the way up through the White House.
And it is our chance to have our voices heard, so that your vote is your voice. Very important. It's only 6 days away. Just incredible. Just tell us what you're hearing out there on the street. MaryLynn, you guys have been knocking on so many doors. It's so impressive to me. And I know we're strongly Republican, but it's not all Republicans in the county. So I'm sure you knock on some doors that might say something else. But generally, what's the word on the street?
Yes, and for those people that maybe they're a little shy about voting for Trump, we talk issues. We talk to them about their schools. We talk to them about health care. Inflation is the number one thing people are talking about and saying everything has doubled. In the past 4 years, everything has doubled, whether it's housing, insurance, food prices. And it's really hurting. A lot of people in Florida are seniors. They're on fixed incomes. It's tough.
There's a big difference between the presidential races this year, and people need to understand that. MaryLynn, one thing that's hard for me to watch is people are voting on personality and not issues. So what do you say to those people that are sitting in the middle and they're talking about personality? I don't like him, or he's what do you say to that?
You really have to try and bring people back to the issues and remind them and ask them, were you better off 4 years ago? Did you feel safer 4 years ago? Were you able to better afford your groceries? Were you going out to dinner a little bit more often 4 years ago? Talk to them about freedom. Talk to them about their grandchildren in schools and what they expect their grandchildren to learn in those schools, or their children. Is it going to be the subjects of math and reading, or are we going to be talking about transgenderism?
That's right. An opportunity as well. And you say go back 4 years. I'd say even go back 6 years. The Democrats are really using COVID as, oh, look at unemployment. It's the lowest it's been. We brought back more jobs. Well, the economy was closed down because of something we had never seen in our lifetimes, unless you happen to be alive with the
Right.
Spanish flu in the 1920s.
And we see that a little differently in Florida because we were not closed down, at least not for very long.
Right.
And we got back to work, and that's why we had the influx of people that we did. People came here. People want the American dream. They want to go get a job, be able to take care of their family, to feel safe in their environment, in their home, to save a little money for retirement. This is the American dream. This is what people want, and this is what we are talking to people about. It's not just about personalities, who said what, who did what. This is about our dreams, our future.
Our economy was flourishing before COVID hit, and the world was becoming more peaceful. And, that's another big thing, that it's going to be up to a president. And this is so important, folks. And that's why we need to focus on the issues. Right now, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Russia and in Ukraine. I mean, we really need a strong leader out there, not somebody who goes along to get along.
They are tinderboxes. And we definitely need a strong leader, a strong military, strong generals behind our commander-in-chief to make these decisions. We can't treat things the way we left Afghanistan. Was so embarrassing.
I've never seen anything like it.
One of the worst days in American history, the way that was handled.
I agree.
And we got to go in there with a strong mindset and a military behind that mindset, and keep the peace. Talk, negotiate. Some people don't like President Trump because of his personality.
It's so much deeper than a personality, in my opinion. You got to look at the issues, and it does take strength to lead. And I think for me, that's the biggest thing I see between these administrations. Is one was a very strong leader, and again, the other is.
We're going to take care of America first.
Yes. And that's all I can say. And you as well, MaryLynn. Thank you so much for coming in here today and focusing on these very important issues. No matter what, vote, right?
Right. And I'll see you at Hearing the Natives tonight at 4:30 to Sign Wave.
Hey, there we go.
Have fun.
They're sign waving away. So MaryLynn Magar, the Republican Executive Committee, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you for being out there, because you guys are talking for a lot of people that can't. So appreciate it so much. Folks, vote. MaryLynn Magar, appreciate you coming in today.
Take care.